Dolly Parton, the legendary queen of country music, the woman who once made all of America fall in love with her sweet voice and a radiant smile as bright as the Tennessee sunrise. For more than half a century, she has been a symbol of compassion, of resilience, rising from poverty, and of a light that never fades in the fabric of American popular culture. But behind that smile lies a completely different world. At the age of 79, with a fortune exceeding $650 million, Dolly has chosen to live a reclusive life at Willow Lake Plantation, a secluded 60-acre estate, where the iron gates are always locked and the morning mist conceals everything inside. Many sources claim that within those gates she tends to certain forbidden plants. Some even whisper that it's where she hides a long-buried lesbian love affair that has been kept secret for decades. So could her picture-perfect marriage to Carl Dean and those tender country ballads simply be a flawless facade for another hidden chapter of her life? And behind the iron gates of Willow Lake Plantation, what is truly happening? Could Dolly Parton be concealing a part of her story that the world has never known? Dolly Rebecca Parton was born in 1946 in Sevier County, Tennessee, a poor rural region where people lived off the land and their faith. Her family was large and so impoverished that her parents once paid the doctor who delivered her with a sack of cornmeal. Yet amid that hardship, music came to her like a divine gift. From a young age, Dolly was writing songs, singing in church, and performing on small-town stages. She believed that only music could lift her out of poverty. At 18, she left her hometown for Nashville, the city of dreams, carrying nothing but her old guitar and an unshakable belief that she was born to sing. Her first record label wanted her to pursue pop music, but Dolly stood firm in her love for country. She said, "I can't pretend to be anyone other than myself." That determination opened the path that would make her one of America's greatest icons. From Jolene to I Will Always Love You, every song she wrote was a reflection of real-life jealousy, heartbreak, and unfulfilled love. Yet behind those sweet melodies was a sharp business mind. Dolly knew that in this world only control could protect one's freedom. She founded her own record label, retained the rights to over 3,000 songs, and never allowed anyone else to own her words. When Elvis Presley once asked to record I Will Always Love You on the condition that they split the royalties, Dolly refused without hesitation. 2 decades later, Whitney Houston sang the song in The Bodyguard, earning Dolly more than $10 million in royalties, proof of the vision and brilliance of a true genius. Success followed success, but Dolly didn't stop at music. In 1986, she opened Dollywood, an amusement park inspired by her mountain childhood. It wasn't just a tourist attraction, it became the lifeline for thousands of Tennesseans. Thanks to Dollywood, millions of visitors flock there every year, and Dolly Parton became Nashville's first female billionaire, a woman who turned the memories of poverty into a golden legacy. Yet amid the spotlight, what baffled Hollywood the most was her strange half-century-long marriage. In 1966, Dolly met Carl Dean, the owner of a small car wash in Nashville. There was no stage, no spotlight, just a simple line that began their love story. "If you stay out in the sun without covering your shoulders, you'll get burned." They married quietly with only Dolly's mother and a minister as witnesses. Since that day, Carl Dean has almost completely vanished from the public eye. No interviews, no red carpet appearances, and never accompanying Dolly to any event. Some even began to wonder, does he even exist? But to Dolly, that has never mattered. She once said, "He loved me before I was famous. He loves me for who I am." Not for Dolly Parton on stage. When their 50th wedding anniversary came, they renewed their vows in silence, no media, no extravagant gown, just the two of them, and a promise as simple as the day they first met. In a world where most celebrities expose their private lives to maintain fame, Dolly Parton chose secrecy to protect what she holds most sacred. However, the very fact that her husband has remained invisible for more than half a century has led the public to wonder, could that marriage be nothing more than a veil one carefully drawn to conceal an entirely different kind of love? At the very moment the stage lights shone their brightest, the media began turning their gaze toward the shadows in Dolly Parton's private life. The name Judy Ogle, her lifelong friend, the quiet figure always seen behind every tour, suddenly became the center of whispered rumors. They had grown up together in Sevier County, ridden together in an old pickup truck, and shared a small apartment in Nashville back when Dolly was still unknown. But as fame arrived, that friendship became something all of Hollywood began to question. People say that during long tours, Dolly and Judy always shared the same room. They had their own private language, a gentle touch, a fleeting glance enough to make anyone watching feel they were witnessing something far too intimate to call friendship. One photographer once captured a moment backstage when Dolly turned and smiled at Judy. Their eyes met for just a second, but the lens caught what fans later called the look of someone in love. Then there were the nights in the Smoky Mountains when the moon spilled across the lake and neighbors saw two silhouettes sitting on the wooden porch, one voice softly singing, another laughing quietly into the wind. Whenever reporters asked about it, Dolly would just smile and say, "Judy is family to me, nothing more, nothing less." Yet, the way she avoided the topic, how her voice softened, and how her gaze trembled ever so slightly, only made the public more certain there was something she was trying to hide. Meanwhile, Carl Dean, the invisible husband, remained silent. 60 years have passed, not a single public photo together, not once walking side by side on the red carpet. People now call him the most mysterious man in America, and it's that very silence that gives the rumors weight. Could this long-lasting marriage be nothing more than a perfect facade for another love? One that is secret, forbidden, and understood only by two women. In Nashville, that story is still told in bars, in recording studios, and backstage at Dollywood. Some believe it's a myth woven over time, while others swear they once saw Judy's eyes welling with tears after Dolly finished singing a melancholy love song. As for Dolly herself, she has never denied it, nor has she confirmed it. She simply smiles a smile so gentle, yet one that makes the whole world wonder what the queen of country might be hiding behind her sweetest melodies. And then, amid those never-proven rumors, Dolly Parton suddenly withdrew to Willow Lake Plantation. Dolly Parton purchased Willow Lake Plantation in 1999 for only around $400,000, a modest figure almost too small to believe compared to its current scale and worth. After years of renovation, the 60-acre estate has become a self-contained compound featuring a main house, guest house, retreat area, tennis court, and swimming pool. Everything is painted in her favorite shade of red, a color she loves so much that locals still refer to the property simply as the Red Farm. The main house, spanning over 300 square feet with 23 rooms, carries not the cold opulence of a millionaire's mansion, but a warmth steeped in nostalgia. White walls, dark wooden floors, and round windows that capture every beam of Tennessee sunlight fill the home with the gentle breath of the South. Dolly still keeps her old habits, brewing her own coffee, preparing breakfast, and spending quiet mornings by Willow Lake, where the water lies still as glass, reflecting the red rooftops and thick green trees around it. Amid that tranquil setting stands a small chapel only a few dozen square meters wide, which has become the soul of the entire property. It is where Dolly prays, writes songs, and rediscovers her peace after long tours. Family members say that whenever she feels tired or wounded, she sits there alone with nothing but her guitar and a half-burned candle, as if she's speaking to the deepest part of her own soul. Yet not everyone believes Willow Lake is simply a place of rest. After 2000, as the rumors about Dolly and Judy Ogle's relationship grew louder, the Nashville media began to look at the estate through a different lens. Each evening, locals often see Judy Ogle driving up in her faded pickup truck. She never knocks, just honks twice softly, a signal only the two of them understand. Dolly then steps out, her golden hair flowing, wrapped in a white wool robe, smiling gently before vanishing with Judy behind the time-worn wooden gates. At dusk, locals often see Judy driving her faded pickup truck to the old wooden gate. She never rings the bell, just honks twice softly, a familiar signal that needs no words. Moments later, Dolly appears, her golden hair falling loosely wrapped in a white wool robe. With a gentle smile, she disappears with Judy behind the weathered wooden doors, aged and gray with time. They say Carl Dean, the invisible husband, still lives there in the main house overlooking the still lake. And yet, strangely, the lights in his wing always go out early, while the guest house where Dolly and Judy often spend their evenings glows well into the night. One delivery worker once said that late one evening they heard the soft strumming of a guitar mingled with bursts of laughter, as if two souls were speaking to each other through music instead of words. On rainy nights, Judy is often seen standing on the porch holding an umbrella, shielding Dolly as she steps into the garden to pick flowers. The rumors grew even wilder after a plumber claimed that one misty morning, through a window fogged with condensation, he saw Dolly and Judy sitting close together on an old armchair. Their hands intertwined the fireplace, casting a warm glow on their faces. And then suddenly, a quiet kiss, lingering so long it seemed as though time had stopped. Later at night, a few passers-by swore they had seen Judy pushing her bicycle across the small wooden bridge leading to the guest house, where a soft golden light still flickered inside. Sometimes through the rain and wind, a faint singing voice could be heard blending with gentle laughter, and then silence. One witness swore that through a narrow crack in the door, he caught sight of candlelight flickering and two figures wrapped in each other's arms, a fleeting, fiery moment that set the entire town whispering. In those nights, Willow Lake felt like a wordless stage, a place where forbidden love and misty secrets intertwined, leaving behind the lingering scent of lavender smoke and the echo of a kiss that would never be spoken of again. But that was only the surface of the secrets buried beneath Willow Lake. Few people know that Dolly Parton once shocked the public when she openly admitted in her autobiography, Dolly, My Life and Other Unfinished Business, 1994, that she had smoked marijuana not out of rebellion but to relax and spark her creativity. She even confessed that she sometimes grew a few plants in her small Tennessee garden, treating it as a personal pleasure, like brewing tea or writing a song when I'm feeling blue. With a mischievous smile, Dolly said, "I'm not addicted, I just do it for fun now and then." Yet some claim that her autobiography revealed only half the truth, because behind the red gates of Willow Lake, that harmless little hobby may have evolved into something much bigger. Gardeners who work around the property say that lately when night falls, they often see a faint, greenish glow seeping from a hidden corner behind a line of old oak trees. No one is allowed to approach, and no one knows what lies inside. Only the soft whirring of fans fills the night air, mingling with a strange scent, sharp, rich, and warm like freshly lit smoke. Dolly Parton once explained that it was simply her herbal therapy garden where she grew lavender mint and chamomile for her line of natural cosmetics. But those who once worked there tell a different story. "I've smelled hundreds of plants in my life," said a former gardener, "but that smell, it was heavier, intoxicating like cannabis. It made my head spin as if I'd stepped into a dream." It all began years ago after Dolly underwent back surgery following decades of performing. The pain lingered, robbing her of sleep, and the painkillers left her weak and weary. One rainy night, as the wind tapped against the roof, she told her manager, "I don't want any more pills. I need something that grows from the earth, not from a lab." From that thought, a small garden was born just a few pots behind the stables where Dolly would sit, write songs, and brew tea. At first, it was merely a way to find balance again. But over time, the garden expanded, fenced off with new wooden rails, and then one day a large greenhouse appeared covered in reflective sheeting and locked with a heavy steel padlock. There was only one key, and it stayed in Dolly's hands. At night, strange lights shimmered from within, glinting across the lake like fragments of a broken moon. An electrician who was once called in to repair the lighting system claimed that Dolly requested a specific type of LED used only in indoor cannabis farms. In Tennessee, that's still taboo, especially when the land belongs to one of America's most beloved moral icons. So no one dared to speak further. The story lived on only as a whisper in a small-town cafe, drifting between curls of cigarette smoke and the sound of Jolene playing softly on the radio. Locals say that since the greenhouse appeared, Dolly has looked healthier, her voice warmer and stronger. Some even insist they've seen a small truck leaving the property carrying sacks labeled lavender for Dollywood Spa. But the scent wafting through the air was unusually sweet and pungent. No one has ever stepped beyond that fence, but everyone knows this. Since that day, the garden behind the house has been guarded closely, and that same pale green light still glows each night, steady, silent like a secret that never sleeps. When leaving Willow Lake Plantation, Dolly often returns to the Smoky Mountains, where her cabin stands like a mirror reflecting the deepest memories of her life. Built in the traditional log cabin style, the house embodies the rustic charm of the American South, aged pine walls, a steep roof, windows opening toward the hills, and a natural stone fireplace in the center of the living room. Dolly once said, "This place makes me feel like my mama's arms are around me again." Perhaps that's why whenever she leaves Nashville, she comes here not to hide, but to find herself once more. Inside, the morning light filters through the windows, spreading across honey-colored wooden floors and filling the room with a gentle, peaceful warmth. Old photographs line the walls, her childhood in a one-room house in Sevier County, her parents and siblings, and faded posters from the 1970s. Among the small keepsakes on the mantel stands a framed photo of Dolly and Judy Ogle hand in hand in a misty forest, a photo never made public, but according to a former housekeeper, it has always remained there like a piece of the house's very soul. The living room feels more lived in than decorated worn leather chairs, a hand-woven rug, guitars hanging along the wall. In one corner sits an ivory piano by the open window. Dolly often sits there each morning writing music in silence, sometimes speaking to herself, sometimes to someone whose name only the mountains and the wind remember. Her Smoky Mountains home is not just a retreat, it's a quiet workshop of creation. Many of her saddest and most intimate songs were written there not for the stage, but for those who have walked beside her through the years. A close friend once quoted her saying, "I write in Nashville to make a living, but here I write to feel alive." In that stillness, she returns to her truest self, not a legend, not an icon, but a woman who has loved hidden and lost. The garden surrounding the cabin seems guided by feeling rather than design. Wild roses entwine with white daisies, lavender, and autumn grass. Behind the house, a small stream winds through the land where she often sits with her leather notebook writing lyrics as the water hums below. Locals say that on chilly afternoons, Dolly still sits for hours on the porch, quietly gazing toward the mist-covered mountains, the ones that hold all the things she has never spoken aloud. And when she leaves her houses behind, Dolly Parton finds another joy driving down the southern roads she has sung about all her life. Dolly has never been one for luxury cars. She doesn't collect them to show off, nor does she care for speed. Her garage holds no Lamborghinis or Rolls-Royces, only classic American icons vehicles woven into the memories of an entire generation. "I choose cars the way I choose songs," she once said. "They don't have to be perfect, they just need soul." Her very first car, a 1955 Chevrolet Bel Air, was a gift she bought herself after signing her first big Nashville contract. Painted a soft pink with gleaming chrome trim and smooth curved lines, it captured the spirit of post-war America, years filled with hope and optimism. That car appeared alongside her in countless performances and interviews, becoming a symbol of the young mountain girl who stepped into the glamorous world through her own hard work. Today it rests quietly in the garage at Willow Lake Plantation, polished to a glossy shine, as if time itself had never moved past 1967. After the Bel Air, the 1955 Ford Thunderbird became another defining piece of Dolly's life, not just for its alluring design, but because she once called it the car that reflects my soul. With its white convertible top and turquoise body, the Thunderbird was more than a symbol of style. It was a symbol of freedom. She often drove it alone, cruising along the roads around Nashville at night, as the hum of insects and the whisper of wind became a rhythm beneath the melodies forming in her mind. "I write my best songs when I'm driving," she once confessed. Perhaps it was on those nights between the darkness and the low purr of the engine that Dolly wrote many songs the world would never hear, melodies known only to her and the open road. In the 1970s, as Dolly's fame spread across the globe, she chose a 1974 Cadillac Coupe de Ville, the ultimate emblem of American luxury and power at the time. Nearly 6 meters long with pearl white paint, genuine leather interior, and a massive 7.7-liter V8 engine, it was the kind of car that made the streets glow when she arrived at the studio. Yet behind its brilliance lay another story. This was also the era when Dolly faced harsh criticism for being too glamorous, too sensual, too much. Sometimes when parking in the shadows of the recording lot, she would simply sit in silence, remove her wig, and let the night breeze brush through her fine natural hair as if taking one stolen breath of freedom in a life fenced in by fame. By the 1990s, when her name had become legend, Dolly switched to a 1997 Cadillac DeVille d'Elegance, a model of luxury, yet far more discreet. It was no longer a symbol of ambition, but one of peace. Compact, warm, and quiet enough for her to write music in the back seat, it reflected a different kind of Dolly, mature, grounded, and contemplative. A former colleague once recalled that Dolly wrote nearly half of Travelin' Through, the Golden Globe-winning song, while sitting in that very Cadillac waiting during a drive from Nashville to Pigeon Forge. She scribbled lyrics on a restaurant receipt, the person said. Then she sang a few lines and laughed. It was like the songs just found her even when she was on the move. Still, Dolly's collection wasn't limited to classic beauties. In another corner of her Brentwood garage, she kept a row of small trucks and SUVs once used by the Dollywood logistics team. Each had a purpose, each carried a story, a truck for props, one for staff, another for bringing underprivileged children to Dollywood as part of her annual charity program. "I don't buy cars to show off," Dolly once said. "I buy them to do good things." And perhaps of all her vehicles, it was those humble ones that best reflected who she truly was. Today, though she rarely drives herself, Dolly still visits her garage every time she returns to Tennessee. She walks slowly between the cars, brushing her hand along their cool surfaces, as if touching time itself asleep beneath the paint. Each car marks an era, a beginning, a farewell, a moment of loneliness, a fragment of memory. And through it all, Dolly remains the only one at the wheel of her own journey, choosing her path, guiding her direction, never letting anyone else decide where she's headed. In the soft yellow glow of the garage lights reflected off the body of an old Cadillac, one can sometimes see her small silhouette standing still, smiling faintly at herself in the rearview mirror. Perhaps for Dolly Parton, those cars are more than machines. They are the silent witnesses of a dazzling yet solitary life, where fame, love, and secrecy intertwine on a road that never truly ends. And just like those cars, Dolly's fortune reflects an entire lifetime's journey, one built from sweat, passion, and the glow of the spotlight. It all began in 1966 when Dolly was only 20 years old. Instead of letting record labels own her publishing rights, she founded her own company, Velvet Apple Music. That decision, small as it seemed at the time, would become the cornerstone of an empire. By keeping full ownership of her songs, she earned every cent from thousands of titles broadcast, performed, and re-recorded over the decades. Among the more than 3,000 songs she has written, "I Will Always Love You Alone" has brought her over $20 million in royalties. Most of it from Whitney Houston's legendary version in The Bodyguard 1992. In Nashville's music circles, people still retell the story of how Elvis Presley once wanted to record that song but demanded half the publishing rights. Dolly refused firmly and fearlessly. When asked about it later, she simply said, "I couldn't sell my soul, not even to Elvis." That single act of clarity preserved the greatest treasure of her life, a publishing catalog worth more than $150 million, which continues to generate steady income each month through Spotify, YouTube, and modern streaming platforms. According to Billboard, her streaming royalties alone bring in nearly $40,000 a month, even now well into her 80s, long after she stopped touring regularly. Yet music is only one part of the empire. By the mid-1980s, as many artists of her generation struggled to adapt to a changing industry, Dolly saw opportunity in an entirely new arena: family entertainment and tourism. She purchased a small amusement park in Pigeon Forge near her hometown of Sevier County and transformed it into Dollywood, a Southern-style theme park that opened in 1986. At first, people laughed at the idea. A country singer's amusement park seemed like a fantasy. But within a few years, Dollywood became one of Tennessee's top tourist attractions, drawing over 3 million visitors annually. Dollywood wasn't just a park, it was Dolly's love letter to her roots. She rebuilt a replica of the one-room cabin where she was born, added a country music theater, an exhibit of her stage costumes and guitars, and even a section dedicated to gospel music. Every corner reflected her gratitude to the poor Appalachian hills that raised her. Yet behind the sentimentality was sharp business genius. From Dollywood, Dolly expanded into restaurants, resorts, water parks, and live theaters, all carrying the Dolly brand, a true cultural empire where her name itself became a trademarked asset. According to Forbes, Dollywood alone is now valued at more than $165 million, providing hundreds of jobs for the local community. Each festival season, Dolly appears in dazzling gowns, cutting the ribbon amid fireworks and cheering crowds. Then, quietly, she steps back, leaving the spotlight to her staff and visitors. "I just want them to be happy," she once said. "Whether it's through music or a ride, as long as they smile, that's enough." Beyond Dollywood, Dolly has built a network of personal brands. From Dolly Beauty Cosmetics and her baking line with Duncan Hines to Dolly Wines, and even Dolly Parton, a pet fashion brand that donates part of its profits to animal rescue charities. Everything she touches carries her unmistakable image, cheerful, feminine, radiant, and kind. Under Dolly's hand, every part of her, her smile, her voice, her style has become not just art, but a living, thriving brand. In addition, Dolly has quietly invested in real estate. Beyond her 2 primary estates in Tennessee, she owns multiple properties in Los Angeles, New York, and Florida. Some of these holdings are kept discreet, registered under subsidiary companies, and used to house members of her production teams. The total value of her real estate portfolio is estimated to exceed $100 million, most of it debt-free and fully owned by her personally. With dozens of income streams from music theme parks, brand licensing, and real estate investments, Dolly Parton's net worth in 2025 is estimated at around $650 million, making her one of the wealthiest female country artists in American history. And as with nearly every chapter of her life, a significant portion of that fortune has been quietly dedicated to philanthropy. Over more than 6 decades, Dolly Parton has been not only a musical icon, but also what many call the compassionate heart of America. She has always believed that success only matters when it's shared. That belief has guided a lifetime of charitable work spanning education, healthcare, and community relief. One of her most meaningful and celebrated projects is the Imagination Library, which she founded in 1995, inspired by her illiterate father, Robert Lee Parton. At first, the Imagination Library operated only in her hometown of Sevier County, Tennessee, with a simple mission to mail 1 free book each month to every child under the age of 5. Dolly once said, "If you want to change the future, start by handing a child a book today." What began as a small local effort quickly grew beyond anyone's expectations. From a few hundred books in its early days, the Imagination Library has become a global movement, now reaching children across the United States, the United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, and Ireland, with over 200 million books delivered completely free of charge. But for Dolly, it has never been just about giving books. Each one carries a personal message from her, a way to plant seeds of love and learning. She personally helps select age-appropriate titles and partners with educational organizations to ensure every book sparks curiosity, imagination, and a lifelong love of reading. Many parents in rural Tennessee say with emotion that their children's very first books came from Miss Dolly. Alongside the Imagination Library, Dolly also founded the Dollywood Foundation, which has donated tens of millions of dollars to scholarships, schools, hospitals, and disaster relief programs. During the COVID-19 pandemic, she contributed $1 million to Vanderbilt University to help fund the development of the Moderna vaccine, a donation that would later be recognized as historically significant. When wildfires devastated her hometown in 2016, she immediately pledged $10 million in relief funds, personally ensuring that families who had lost their homes received monthly financial support until they could rebuild. What makes Dolly even more remarkable is that despite her immense fortune, she has always given to charity quietly. She avoids award ceremonies, declines public recognition, and refuses to have her name engraved on donation plaques. "I don't need anyone to know," she once said. "If a child smiles because they have a book to read, that's all the reward I need." With her boundless compassion and tireless spirit of giving, Dolly Parton has turned kindness itself into a lasting legacy. The Imagination Library, her lifelong passion project, continues to spread the light of knowledge every single day, ensuring that Dolly's name shines not only under the stage lights, but also in the hearts of millions around the world. And perhaps that is the most dazzling paradox of Dolly Parton's life, a woman who has illuminated the world from the spotlight while hiding untold secrets in the quiet corners of her soul. From a poor mountain girl in Tennessee whose parents once paid her birth doctor with a sack of cornmeal to the queen of country music, commanding an empire worth hundreds of millions, Dolly has conquered every prejudice with talent, courage, and grace. She has been rumored about, judged, and misunderstood, yet she has never lost herself. Between fame and solitude, she continues to choose love, creativity, and the freedom of living true to her heart. If you love uncovering the stories behind the glitter of Hollywood legends, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to support the channel. And tell us in the comments below, what do you think is the greatest mystery in Dolly Parton's life? Her secret love, her hidden garden, or the quiet pursuit of freedom she's carried all along?